So I got my parts here, fuel line, filter, intake boot, impulse line, oil and oil filter, crank seals, the carb gasket right here, and the Zama carb kit. So I'm going to go ahead and start removing the intake boot here. See how this plastic thing comes off here. There we go. All right. I'm going to take my little vacuum piece off here, little vacuum cap. Put that back on my little thing. You can get these at the local hardware store, or automotive store rather. All right, so pull this off. Seems to be on there pretty good. Yeah, so that's sealed pretty well on there. All right, and it's the same setup. You know, you still could put a clamp on here, but they just use this, and it actually seems to work pretty well. So we'll pull off our clamshell here, and we'll replace these seals and reseal the bottom. This is just a stock saw. I'm not doing anything fancy to this. I'm probably not doing anything at all because it's not mine, and you know how that goes. So I did go ahead and put a couple of X's on here. You know, the other way you can identify which way that clamshell goes on is this little piece right here goes around your oiler. But I don't know. I just marked it that way, so there's no mistake. You can easily identify which way that goes. Wow, look at that. And that come off quite easy. Alright, there's quite a bit of stuff on the bottom here. Probably like bad fuel and everything else. Alright, so I'm going to pull this out and clean this off. See what we got. There we go. All right. I really didn't have to take that all the way up, but just easier to clean everything. All right, I'm going to clean this off with a razor blade. Get this all scraped off. I'll clean everything up, and I'll be back. It's going to take a little bit to get this sealant off here. Take your time with a razor blade. Whatever you got, maybe a brass, you know, wire brush. Checking out the bearing cap of the clamshell part. Lots of old fuel and stuff in there, very nasty. Okay, be gentle with a scraper. Use some light Scotch-Brite or something, but get all that crap out of there. Everything's clean. That's pretty nice, as good as I'm going to get it. The cylinder also sprayed down with carb clean, compressed air, blown off. Mating surfaces I've done with acetone. All right, now's a real good time to make sure your impulse line, okay, is clean. All right, and seal surfaces are cleaned up. All right, with a little bit of Scotch-Brite. Just make sure you, you know, spray with carb clean or some type of cleaner, brake clean, blow them off, make sure everything's good. We can look at the rings right here. They got some real good tension to them, you know, so we know our rings are good. And just looking at the overall condition of the piston, we know it's a pretty low hour saw, but you can determine what you want to do with yours. So let's put just a tad of oil on the rings here. You know, I don't want to make this video look like, You know, people, oh, I just replaced this. Oh, bang, it's all done. Bang. All right, yeah. So this is like real. This is what happens. It's the truth. So make sure on whatever side you're putting this in, make sure your crank goes in the right way. So your PTO side's here. All right, make sure those pins, make sure your pins are in the right place so those rings can collapse. Okay, and I think this will slide right in here. We'll just get it down in here for now. And it should go in. Okay, there we are. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, a little bit of oil on these seals. These are right out of the package. I don't really need oil on the outsides. I try and keep stuff pretty, well, dry, whatever. I want to get a little bit of lubricant on here. Not a lot, because I don't want to affect my surface. Oh, there we go. So you can use your fingers, whatever, put that in there. I do want to keep this up. I don't want that. I want to get that surface too dirty. Nice and gentle. We'll roll those seals on here. Alright, so put our intake boot on here. It pretty much, the little arrow on here pretty much points to the center. Let's squeeze this on here. Okay. We're not perfect. We'll line it up. Oh boy, so it's kind of hard to turn with your casting line. You know, in the center of the cylinder here. Needs to go a tad more. Okay, should be pretty good. We'll pop our holder on here. Kind of clamp, if you would call it. Okay, looks decent. Let's throw this back in the chassis here. Come on. Okay, put our screws in here. Okay, I'll check these by hand, and we'll let this sit overnight, and then we'll do a vacuum and pressure test on it to make sure everything's good. So all the crank seals and everything's done in it. It's all sealed up, vacuum and pressure tested. Lines are all changed. I just got to finish assembling it. But while the carburetor was in the ultrasonic cleaner, I decided, you know what? I'm going to take this muffler apart, or try to. I really didn't want to get into a big deal with this, but I was able to just gently put this in the vise and get in here, you know, with a pry bar, and I was able to bend those lips back, and I was able to peel this thing out of here. It just kind of came right out. All right, so what I ended up doing, I didn't want to totally remove the baffle, so I drilled the holes quite a bit bigger, drilled them on the sides, opened up the end here, so it's gonna kind of have a straight shot up and down. But anyways, why did I do it that way? Just because I wanted to. I like trying different things. Okay, I opened up the front cover here. All right, not super massive, but that's a big difference. And then the louvers, I just got in there with a screwdriver. I clamped this flat part in the vise, and I get in there with a screwdriver and just kind of tweaked them a little bit. So anyways, hopefully the next time you see this saw, it'll be running. All right, so we got a hand-filed safety chain here. We're about 32 thousandths on the raker. I did run it last night. I got a quick little tune on here. It is warmed up. We'll cut a few pieces and see what it does. It's a little better. That's quite rich right there. Maybe back it off a little bit. But then again, that's a pretty nice safe area for somebody to use. Yeah, not bad. It definitely do better with a green chain. Not a green chain, a yellow chain, the Pro chain. And some of these teeth were a little messed up. They're not all equal lengths, but that ain't up to me. That's the owner. So it's cutting just a tad crooked. But either way, see how it restarts. Restart's good. All right, guys, as usual, I appreciate you watching.